In an article written by Diane Dimon, it is said that there is between 35 and 50 active serial killers at any given moment throughout the United States. Now, let's think about that. In society living among us right now could be up to 50 serial killers. That's a scary thought, isn't it? The concept of serial killers is not new to most of us, but some of the gruesome acts committed in these crimes can be a shock. As a student studying forensic science at Youngstown State, I'm going to give you some information on some of the most well-known serial killers throughout our history. Now, crime has been a part of society since the beginning of time, and some of these facts may be helpful to you as a member of society. I'm going to tell you about 5 serial killers. The first is Gary Ridgway. There's also Belle Gunness. The third is Richard Ramirez. The fourth is Ted Bundy. And the last one is Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm going to list them in the order of the highest number of victims. So the first one, Gary Ridgway, was born February 18th of 1949 in Salt Lake City, Utah. Ridgway strangled his victims. He usually pinpointed runaways and prostitutes, and the victims turned up in what is known as the Green River, which gave him his nickname, the Green River Killer. He was convicted by DNA evidence in 2001, and he is still alive. The second one, Belle Gunness, was born on November 22nd in 1859 in Norway. She immigrated to the United States in search for wealth, and it was said that she's responsible for the deaths of 2 of her husbands and the children involved in both marriages. After those deaths, she began to lure men to her house. These men were wealthy, and she killed them for their wealth. In 1908, she set fire to her house, and there were 3 bodies, and the remains of one of them didn't have a head. Now, this was said that it was her body, but later on it was believed that it wasn't her. Gunness had fled, and her fate is unknown. She was responsible for over 40 deaths. The third one is Richard Ramirez. He was responsible for 13 murders and 25 rape cases. He was born on February 29th of 1960, and he died on June 7th of 2013. Ramirez practiced satanic rituals, and he also used it in some of his murders. He had a drug addiction and several prior offenses before he was caught for murder. In 1849, his killings escalated, and he began a 2-year killing spree spanning across Los Angeles to San Francisco, California. He was caught in 1985. He was driving a victim's car, and he was caught by the police, and his fingerprints were found on the car, linking him to the murders. The next one is Ted Bundy. He was born on December 24th of 1946, and he died July 24th of 1989. Ted Bundy was linked to 36 murders, and it was believed that he had over 100 victims. He raped and killed young women in the states of Washington, Oregon, Utah, and Florida. Excuse me. He escaped from custody twice, which led to more murders than expected. One of the times he was let loose, he fled to Florida, and he was known in this time for his rape victims in a sorority house. He died by the electric chair in Florida, and he is known as one of the most notorious criminals. The last one, Jeffrey Dahmer, was born on May 21st of 1960 and died November 28th of 1994. He had 17 victims, and all of them were African American males. Dahmer was a serial killer and sex offender, and his crimes spanned over 13 years. He kept body parts and took pictures of the mutilated victims, and he also experimented with ways of disposal. He used chemicals, and he also ingested some of his victims. Now, all 5 of these people are people who have been in society that have interacted with people. And it could have been us that we would have known them. Can you think of any other serial killer instances that were unsettling to you? Just think about it. That there are people in this world that do things that are very unnerving and very shocking, but it's part of our society. Go ahead, Lily.